What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Mike LaBelle, and today we need to talk about not the best formations, not the best, I repeat, not the best. We're looking at the top 5 worst formations you want to stay away from. If you've seen my 30 matches, 30 formations, weekend league video, that kind of inspired this, where I thought about some of the formations I really enjoyed, other ones that kind of sat in the middle, and then these types of formations that I want to stay away from. Drop a like on this video if you want to see me do more of a breakdown covering all 30. I'll detail what's good, what's bad, and what kind of sits in between. Maybe even some different formation matchups. Many of you ask me, well, what formation counters what formation? And it's not necessarily that simple, because it does matter what kind of team you have, how you play that formation as well. Even if it's a wide formation, but you don't use the wingers, then that might play a little different for you. If you play a lot of possession and he plays really quick, that is going to be a gameplay conflict, but not a formation conflict. Does that make sense? Are we on the same page? Drop a like. Likety like. And when you see this top 5, comment. I want to see your top 5. When you're watching, as you watch, in fact, pause the video. Go to the comment section. What's your top 5? List them. Let's see if we agree. If we disagree, maybe we mingle a little bit. Back and forth. You get some, I get some, he gets some, she gets some, whatever. That's the best way to do this in an honest way. Don't let my opinions impact yours. I just want to know what 5 formations you think are trash tier. Don't touch them. You wouldn't recommend them to your mama. You wouldn't recommend them to your friends. You definitely tell your enemies to get on board. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's going to be a great game. Super competitive. We're going to lock this in. Locked and loaded. Premium on premium. Worst formations. Comment section now. Bam. Wham. Bam. Thank you. Ma'am. Boom. Last disclaimer, I'm not listing these in order. This is my 5. First formation on the list, I'm giving you a 2-for-1, 4-5-1, and the second variation. The 4-5-1 is trash tier. It just seems so unplayable. And on paper, especially when you look at the original, the OG, classic 4-5-1, you think, okay, we got a couple attacking mids, we've got wingers. This is gonna be free flowing. This is gonna be fun. It's gonna work out. Offense, not an issue. It's the opposite. The spacing is all messed up, and I've never been able to figure it out over the last 4 or 5 years as to why it's so terrible and to what tactics or instructions to use. Nothing gets the job done. I always feel that I'm worse in this formation, and that is not what you want to be saying in a video. That is not what you want to express as a recommendation. I only want to use formations that complement my style as well as match up with the meta. Most effective tactics available. Your formation, your instructions, how the game works, whichever iteration or installment of FIFA you're playing, all of that comes into the grand scheme of this beautiful picture that we're going to paint. And the 4-5-1 doesn't do it. Offensively, is it the worst? No. It just doesn't flow how it should. It's not quick moving. It's not tiki-taka. It's not pass and go. But the biggest issue is that one center mid. He's also going to naturally push forward, and you're always open for counterattacks. You ever played Monopoly? When you pass go, collect your 200? It's similar, but instead of pass and go, you get a free counter. It's always going to be a 3-on-3, a 4-on-4 on the defensive back line. It doesn't work out well. You're taking chances when you shouldn't have to take chances. I've tried playing this formation aggressively, passively, somewhere in between with some balance. I don't like it. I've never been a better player in the 4-5-1. Second variation, relatively similar. It's actually more playable than the original because it starts to resemble closer to a 4-4-1-1. Very playable formation, or even a 4-4-2, but it's still just not right. I would never recommend it. There's so many formations that will give you better output that look similar, plain and simple. Next up, 4-3-3-3. And yes, we have seen this used. It's with 2 holding midfielders, and this also deals with spacing. It's going to be a straight counterattack formation. I get it if somebody is up big and they want to park their bodies back. They want to pack in everyone and they look for these outlets or these releases. But if you're playing this formation start to finish, how are you not at a disadvantage? You have no support for your 2 wingers and your striker. They're going to play their own little 3-man game. It takes forever for your holding mids to get into the attack because that's not what they're meant to do. The center mid feels isolated as opposed to feeling as if he's a member of a cohesive unit when you're going forward, even when you're tracking back. I just can't support the formation. I don't like what it stands for because it's just so damn defensive. And people that play the 4-3-3 third variation always just sit back and have slow-mo connection, and it's an ugly game, and I want to break a controller during the match, after the game, sometimes even as we're loading in. Let me just break something. Can I get a hole through the wall? Is there a punching bag? Does this keyboard need to be broken? Because I'm signing up to break it. 4-3-3-3 is a no-go formation. The only way that you're gonna have success in this formation is if you're playing against somebody who's just committing all bodies forward, because it allows you some level of space for those counterattacks that's necessary, because your build-up play won't be there. And it's so boring defensively. It's not even a fun formation defensively. As someone who doesn't just sit back, I like to take chances. I want to press you. I want to be aggressive. If you have quality aggressive defense, it always transitions to easier offense. And that's kind of what it's all about, especially in a game where you get a lot of AI assistance. You need big time takeaways, start your transition, and then capitalize when you have a 4v4, a 3 versus 3, some space that you can get in behind, because as you build up more, everybody just tracks bodies on bodies on bodies. Feels like a zombie apocalypse of FIFA sweat. Put that on a shirt. Midway point, this will be a surprise. 4-2-4. But Mike, don't you play this formation? Haven't you said you enjoy it? Look, this is an all-in or all-out formation. What happens is you commit bodies forward, you have no midfield, you're gonna lose the midfield battle. And if you play someone who is very gifted and talented at FIFA, you play top-level FIFA, and this is another reason I bring up the 4-2-4, what happens is they get into your midfield and they can just swing the ball side to side. They're gonna hold the ball. There's always open passes, because even if you run high pressure in a 4-2-4, you're still going to have gaps with your midfield, because this formation just doesn't have a midfield. So if you play someone who's composed, they're calm, they have a high level to them, forget about it. You're once again at a disadvantage, and I will keep that on repeat. I will stress that time and time again. When you're playing FIFA, you want to produce a squad, a formation, a tactical setup that gives you the best chance to get wins. Some level of a competitive advantage, because you understand the game a little bit better than your opponent. Many times we see players that aren't as good get wins because of smarter tactics, also being clinical, but having the correct personnel to kind of mix or interject between everything. How many people have you gone up against that naturally have talent but don't have the mind of a manager? Their tactics are no good. Formation, bad. Stubborn. They're not gonna make changes. They say they're committed and that's what it's gonna be. So do I enjoy playing the 4-2-4? Sure, but it's short-lived. Not over the long term. Definitely not for my last 10 games of a weekend league, or if I was gonna go into division rivals. And that's another reason I throw this formation into the mixer, is because it does so poorly for me versus oppositions that are close to my level or at my level. I get absolutely rocked, I get dominated, I get outplayed. I'm not about that. This formation, I have a feeling you may have never used before. 4-1-3-2. I was part of that group. I had not used this formation until I did the 30 formations in 30 games challenge over the course of a weekend league, where I did achieve 28-2. Very proud of that. If you have not watched the video, not dropped support over there, what are you doing? Get your popcorn out, get you some snacks. Quarantine time right now. You have a few extra minutes that you can consume some content. That video has everything if you're looking for information, not only regarding formations, but even players and squad building and tactics, all the above. So this formation looks similar to a 4-1-2-1-2, the OG formation with the left mid and the right mid. However, and you're gonna notice this is a reoccurring theme, spacing, spacing, spacing. My mother always said in real estate, location, location, location. Well, I'm going to apply that to FIFA with spacing, spacing, and spacing. And you can't always fix it via instructions or tactic. It can't always be fixed. Players aren't going to be on the same page if they naturally always want to sit too wide or too narrow, or this guy's going to be here, this guy's going to be there. You can't manually move them time and time again. There are no custom formations in Ultimate Team. This does not feel as if we have one group attacking or one group defending. Think if you have 6 or 7 individuals playing their own game, in their own world, in their own spacing, and they're all over the pitch. Nothing comes together as a collective. You don't get a prime finished product. There is no premium quality. This is Cinnamon Toast Crunch and you decided to add ketchup. Why would you do that? You wouldn't. And I say that because you have the 4-1-2-1-2, which is a better version. Don't go picking this formation. You already have an allotted option that has more proof in the pudding. It's established. It's a classic, and you won't have the same spacing issues. But I will bring up that even the wide 4-1-2-1-2, so not the narrow, not the one with all the center mid, is not a dominant formation. It's not a formation that gives that many people a competitive advantage. It's not what it once was. And part of that's because crossing is not as important. So when we look for winger or width, we need those guys for outlets. We need those players to give us freebie passes out of the back when we're feeling the pressure. We need to relieve that pressure and then be able to start counterattacks. After I've hit this wing target man, is he going to allow me to ping pong other passes, to find a secondary through ball, to support runs properly? And this is how I look at FIFA. I love good tactics. I'm a mastermind. If I'm going to invest 1,500 to 2,000 games of one title, I want to know all the insider trading, why this works, why this doesn't work. And 4132 does not work for yours truly. Just imagine if half of your players aren't sharing the same island. They're all on their own islands. They do whatever they want, when they want, how they want. Some games they might show up, other ones, nah, we're just gonna stay on our island. You guys play the game, feel lost. The point is, this is a skip formation. That is all. Last up, I'm looking forward to the comments, but I'm calling it right now. For many of you, the 3-4-3 will be in your selection. It'll be in that list of 5 formations you don't like. There's no good way to play this formation. It's not possible. It's bad defensively. It's bad in the midfield. It's bad offensively. It's bad with spacing. It's bad with teamwork. It's bad from a tactical perspective. It doesn't matter what players you have in the starting 11. I don't care if you have 99 rated overall players. You are going to struggle. You're definitely hurting yourself in this formation. It doesn't press well. It doesn't sit back well. It doesn't do anything if it's unbalanced. It's ugly, top to bottom. It's not what you want. A lot of my analogies come back to food, but these are the knockoff products that have already went bad. They've been sitting in the pantry way too long, and they were never name brand to begin with. This is no 3-4-1-2 or 3-4-2-1 or 3-5-2. It doesn't have any of those similarities whatsoever. Even if you look at it on paper and say, well, are you sure? I'm sure. The midfield, not gonna hook it up for you. They're not gonna sit back. I don't even know if they're gonna go forward. You want to talk about inconsistency? I never know what I'm gonna get in the 3-4-3 other than I'm not gonna like it. Not gonna like it. It's almost as if you didn't like vegetables. You started off with broccoli, and they gave you green beans, then cauliflower, then asparagus. All of these replacements, not happening. You're not happy about that. You said you didn't like it. I'm not certain how one formation can be so bad, but this is that one. And I've used the 3-4-3 now 8 years in a row. I always try it out. Maybe this is going to be the year where things flow a little bit differently. The last time the 3-4-3 worked in a FIFA installment was FIFA 2007. I know that for a fact. Played at the competitive level, and it was different because it allowed you to press with the midfield and press with the attack. So you were basically taking away a lot of the outlets. Your pressure play was as a collective, as a group, synchronized like the swimmers. But that's not the case in any recent FIFA, and I don't see that changing regardless what engine we're on. Stay the hell away from a 3-4-3. Any other 3 at the back and you will be much happier. Bonus content! As you may have noticed on my countdown, we did not have any mention of 5 at the back formations, and I want to discuss why that is. So with 2 of the 5 at the backs, the 5-2-1-2 and also the 5-3-2, you get a pretty natural overlapping presence from the left wing back and the right wing back. You keep them on always overlap, and now you have a safety outlet. You have an easy release when you win possession. And in the 5-2-1-2, in general, you have the narrowness to attack, and then you always have a little additional width with these late arrivals. One of the few times in life that it is definitely fashion to be late as you're going forward. And I don't advocate for a 5 at the back. I want to make that very clear. It's never been my thing. I've always been anti the 5 at the backs, but I do want to give perspective. I want to showcase maybe a different lens than you've seen the 5 at the back. And of course, with having additional defenders tracking back, it does give you an advantage to clog up different runs, really combat the middle of the pitch if you're in the right formation. But we will discuss a couple 5 at the backs that do not find themselves as a potential upper or even mid tier. I don't like the 5-2-2-1, similar to the 3-4-3. This might be number 6 or number 7 on my countdown. You don't want to use this. It deals with very poor spacing. A bunch of guys that don't get along well in the locker room, not on the same page. It just might be slightly better because you have the 5 at the back to do a more reliable job with coverage for those center mids. You could take more gambles and not be punished quite as much. As I was saying, 5-3-2, you still have these overlapping runs from the wing backs. This ends up looking more like a 3-5-2 if tactically set up correctly. You don't have the defensive options, but you do have a lot of bodies going forward and bodies tracking back. 5-4-1 showcases similarities to a 4-5-1, which I strongly dislike. I can't believe I'm saying this, but having the additional defender seems more natural than the additional attacker in this case. I don't know. Definitely a bottom 10 formation for yours truly. So with the 5 at the back, a couple of them right on the cuff of being in that top 5, and then a couple others not nearly the same story, just because of how you can utilize those wing backs. You've seen my top 5. You've seen my logic. What are you saying at home? And make sure to drop a like if you want me to really go in depth talking about formations and matchups in the near future. I'm talking about ASAP, and there should be more content for you to click on screen. I appreciate you. Until next time, peace.